Welcome to Limitless U. Are we just here by accident? Did humanity really just randomly stumble upon this earth by pure chance? Or were we intentionally put here by a higher power, a God who had a specific plan and purpose in mind when he formed us? You see, the Bible says that God formed man with a specific plan and purpose in mind. Genesis 1 verse 27. So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. And throughout the Bible, God reiterates that he created us for a reason, that we have a purpose in life, a mission, if you will. So the question is, do you believe that we are here by accident or by design? Do you believe that our lives are planned out by a higher power, or that everything is just random and chaotic? If you believe that everything is random and there is no God, then I ask you to consider this. If humanity is just an accident, then what? What is this world? Just a cosmic accident waiting to happen. And if we are just accidents, then we are not special. We are not unique. There is no meaning to our existence. We are just here by chance. But if we were intentionally put here by a God who has a plan and a purpose for us, then we are not just here by accident. We are here for a reason. We have a purpose in life. We have a mission to fulfill. So I ask you again, do you believe that we are here by accident or by design? So if God did not exist, then logically there would be no purpose, because nothing would have a reason to exist. Because purpose implies a creator, it implies a reason for being. And if there is no God, then the question of God's purpose becomes irrelevant. The only time the question of God's purpose becomes relevant is if we assume God exists, right? Because if we assume God exists, then we also need to assume that there was a reason why God created everything. Whether it's for our benefit, whether it's just a cosmic accident, or whether it's just a whim of divine will. But if there is no God, then the question of God's purpose is not tied to anything. It's not tied to any divine being. It's simply a human construct. We are simply making things up as we go along. So there's no such thing as proof of God's existence, right? No one has scientifically proven that God exists. Well, actually, that's not quite true. There are multiple lines of reasoning that suggest it's more reasonable to believe in God than not to. For example, the design of the universe. The universe seems to be fine-tuned for life. If even one of the fundamental constants of nature were slightly different, life as we know it would not be possible. Some argue this points to a designer, a God who created the universe for us. Then there's the existence of objective morality. If there's no God, then there's no objective standard for what's good or bad, right? But many people believe that murder is wrong, that stealing is wrong, that lying is wrong. And they believe these things independently of any personal feelings they may have about them. Where do these moral standards come from if not from God? Religious experience is also sometimes cited as evidence for God's existence. People who have intense, transformative experiences that they attribute to God might argue that their experience is evidence for God's existence. And then there's the resurrection of Jesus. If Jesus really did rise from the dead, that would be pretty good evidence for God's existence. And there are those who have argued that the evidence for the resurrection is actually quite strong. Finally, there's the origin of the cosmos. If the universe just popped into existence out of nothing, that seems pretty miraculous. And many believe that this points to a creator God. Now, none of these arguments are considered scientific proof of God's existence, but many philosophers and theologians argue that when you consider all of these different lines of reasoning together, it becomes more reasonable to believe in God than not to. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.